The night was quiet, and the stars above Earth's desert sky were shining like diamonds. Captain Alex Walker was sitting alone in his small outpost, surrounded by dust and silence. He had been here for 2 years now, working on old machines and keeping an eye on the sky. No one visited this place anymore, not since the war ended. He liked the quiet, but that night, something strange broke the silence. A loud boom shook the ground. Alex jumped to his feet and ran outside. In the distance, he saw a trail of fire. Falling from the sky, it looked like a ship, and it was crashing. It hit the desert ground hard, sending fire and smoke into the air. Without thinking, Alex grabbed his gear and rushed toward the crash site. As he got closer, he saw the ship, half buried in sand, metal torn and burning. It was not human-made. The design was different, smooth, silver, and glowing with a soft blue light. Alex approached carefully, his boots crunching the hot sand. He heard something inside, a soft voice, a cry. Someone was alive. He pulled open a broken door and climbed in. Inside, the smoke was thick, and strange symbols glowed on the walls. He moved through the wreckage and found her. A woman, or something like a woman, was lying on the floor. Her skin was a pale silver, and her hair floated around her like threads of light. She was bleeding, but her blood was blue. Her eyes were closed, her body shaking. Alex checked. Her pulse, weak but still there. He pulled her out of the wreck and carried her back to his outpost. The journey was long, but he didn't stop. Something told him she was important. Back at the outpost, he placed her on a medical table and ran scans. The computer showed nothing. Her biology was too different. None of the treatments worked. Her blood was losing pressure fast, and her organs were failing. If he did nothing, she would die. Alex looked at her, his heart heavy. He had lost people before, in war, in life, and he didn't want to lose another. He thought for a moment, then made a choice. He connected a bloodline from his own arm and linked it to her body. It was crazy, dangerous, even stupid. But there was no other way. The machine hesitated, then beeped. Human blood began to flow into her, drop by drop. At first, nothing happened. But then, her breathing changed. Her skin glowed slightly, and the shaking stopped. Alex watched in silence. Hours passed, and the color returned to her face. Her wounds began to close slowly. It was working. He stayed beside her all night, resting his head against the table. As the sun rose, she opened her eyes, bright, glowing eyes, silver and blue, stared at him, and then she spoke. "Alex," she whispered, her voice soft and strange. He sat up, shocked. How do you know my name?" He asked. She didn't answer. Her eyes closed again, and she fell asleep. Alex stood there, stunned. He had never met her. She was from another world, another life. Yet she knew him. Something was not right. And this was only the beginning. Outside, the crashed ship still smoked under the morning sun. And far above, in the stars, someone or something was watching. Alex didn't know it yet, but by saving her life, he had started something much bigger, something he could not escape. A secret that would change both their worlds and the future of life itself. Asterisk, she dreamed of stars, endless stars, falling like raindrops in a dark sky. Voices whispered in her ears, strange words from distant planets, but one voice was clear, a human voice. "Stay with me," it said. "I saved you." Her eyes snapped open. Bright light filled her vision, soft and warm. The ceiling above her was made of metal panels and flickering lights. Not the stars, not her ship. She was not home. She sat up slowly, her body still weak. Her silver skin was warm, and her chest ached. She looked around. She was in a small room filled with old machines. There were wires, screens, and tools everywhere. And on a chair nearby, sleeping with his head resting on the table, was the human. She stared at him for a long time. His heartbeat echoed in her ears. His blood, she could feel it inside her, not just in her veins, but deeper, in her thoughts, in her memories. She could see flashes of his life, his pain, his loneliness, his kindness. Her body had changed. She could feel it, And yet, she was alive because of him. The human stirred and opened his eyes slowly. When he saw her sitting up, he froze. "You're awake," he said, his voice tired but soft. She nodded, watching him closely. "I didn't think you'd survive." He added. She tilted her head. "You gave me your blood." He looked surprised. "Yes, I had no choice." "No," she said, her voice like a song and a whisper. "You had many choices." He didn't know what to say. She stood up, weak but graceful, and walked to the window, outside. The desert stretched into the horizon, golden and empty, but her mind saw more: ships burning, stars exploding, screams in the void, and then a face, hers, in chains, running for her life. "Who are you?" Alex asked from behind. She turned slowly, her silver eyes glowing faintly. "I don't remember everything," she said, "but I know I was being hunted." Alex stepped closer. "Why?" She paused, touching her stomach gently. "I was carrying something, a secret, maybe a power, I'm not sure." Then she looked at him. "But when you gave me your blood, something changed." Suddenly, alarms beeped on the machine nearby. Alex rushed to check the screen. It showed something strange. Her vitals were normal, but there was a new signal, another heartbeat. Inside her, he turned to her slowly. "There's something else in you." Her face became pale, and she placed both hands on her abdomen. She gasped, her body glowing for a moment. "No," she whispered. "That's not possible." Alex was silent. He didn't understand alien biology, but he understood life signs. There was another life growing inside her, and it was part human. She backed away, breathing fast. "This should not be happening." Her voice trembled. "My species. We do not reproduce like this." Alex's mind raced. "Is it dangerous?" "I don't know," she said, shaking her head. "I was not built for this." "Built?" he repeated, confused. She sat down, covering her face with her hands. "I was created," she whispered. "Not born. I am part of an ancient race, designed for survival, for knowledge, but your blood." It woke something inside me. Alex sat beside her, trying to stay calm. "We'll figure this out," he said. "No," she said quickly. "They will come for me. If they find out I carry this child, they will kill us both." He looked her in the eyes, serious and steady. "Then we won't let them." Far above the planet, in the darkness of space, a silent ship floated among the stars. Its scanners had locked onto the signal. Her signal. Inside, tall figures with glowing armor stood still. Their leader watched the planet below and spoke 2 words. "She's awake." Back on Earth, Alex stood by the door, looking out at the sky. His life had changed forever. He had saved a stranger, but now he might have to protect something far more powerful and dangerous. A life that wasn't supposed to exist. A life born from a single drop of human blood and the war it might bring. The sound of heartbeat, but it was not hers, not his. It echoed louder, deeper, as if the air itself was alive. She sat on the edge of the bed, her hands shaking. Something inside her was moving. It wasn't painful, but it wasn't normal either. Not for her species, not for any species. Alex watched from across the room, silent, unsure. She had barely spoken since the scans showed the second heartbeat. But now, she looked at him, her eyes wide with fear and wonder. "I feel it," she whispered, growing. The lights flickered. Machines around them buzzed without command. Metal tools rattled on the table, pulled by an unseen force. Alex grabbed one of them. "Is that you doing this?" She looked at her hands, glowing slightly. "I don't know," she said. "Maybe it's the child." They ran another scan. Alex watched the screen closely. The reading made no sense. The life form inside her was evolving rapidly. DNA markers were shifting, forming patterns neither human nor alien. "Impossible," he muttered. "This isn't biology, it's design." She stood up suddenly, holding her stomach, not in pain, but in shock. "I can hear it," she said slowly. "Not with ears." Alex stared at her, confused. "It's speaking." she said, in thought. Outside, the wind began to blow harder. Sand hit the windows like tiny bullets. The sky turned gray, and a strange hum vibrated in the air. The child was affecting the environment, and it wasn't even born yet. Later that night, while Alex worked at the console, she stepped out into the cold desert alone. The stars above felt closer than ever. She closed her eyes and listened. Not to the wind, not to Earth, but to something inside, a memory, not hers, not Alex's, a voice, ancient and powerful. It spoke one word over and over: awaken. Her body glowed for a moment, soft silver light wrapping around her. Then it faded. She opened her eyes. Something had changed, back inside. Alex was looking at old Alliance data, alien medical reports, hybrid studies. Most of them were theoretical, dangerous, illegal, but none of them matched what he was seeing now. She's not just pregnant, he whispered. She's transforming. The door opened, and she walked in. Her steps were different, more balanced, more silent. Her skin looked smoother, almost like glass. Her voice was calm. I feel stronger. Alex stood up. Your body is adapting, or preparing, she replied. I don't know what for. She sat down, resting her hand on her stomach. It's like something is watching through me. Then the screen blinked, a red alert. A satellite had picked up movement in orbit. Unmarked, cloaked ship. No signal, no broadcast. It was watching them. Alex's face turned serious. They found you. She closed her eyes. It's too soon. The machine scanned again. The life inside her was growing faster now. What should take months was happening in days. She whispered, they will try to take the child. Alex clenched his fists. They'll have to go through me first. She looked at him, eyes filled with something new, trust. You don't know what this child could be, she said. Alex nodded. I don't care. You're alive because of me, he said. And now you're carrying something the universe hasn't seen before. I won't let anyone hurt either of you. Outside, the wind howled louder, but it wasn't a storm. It was the sky reacting to something awakening on Earth. Something born from human blood and alien life. The child was changing its mother, and now the world would have to change too. Space was silent, but silence does not mean peace. Above Earth, hidden by shadows and cloaking fields, a black ship waited. It had no name. Its walls were made of dark alloy, and its engines were cold. It was built for one purpose, to erase mistakes, and now it had found one. Inside the ship, tall figures stood like statues. Their armor glowed with red veins, pulsing like a heartbeat. They had no faces, only masks carved with symbols of judgment. At the center stood the commander, taller than the rest, his voice like ice. She carries it, he said. The human has infected her. No one replied. They didn't need to. Their mission was clear. Erase the hybrid, clean the bloodline. Leave no witness. Back on Earth, Alex was reinforcing the outpost. He welded steel to the windows and powered up old defense systems. It wouldn't stop a warship, but it might buy time. She sat in the corner, silent, her eyes closed, her body still, but inside her, everything was awake. She could feel them, the hunters. Their thoughts were like blades in her mind. They were coming. The child inside her moved. And suddenly, she saw it. A vision, not of the future, but of the past. Lab. Bright white walls and cold hands. Her body floating in a tube. Dozens of her. Clones lined in rows. One by one, her sisters had failed. She was the only one who escaped, and now they wanted her back. She opened her eyes. I remember now, she whispered. Alex turned to her. What did you see? I was created, she said. Not born, not like you. They made us to explore the galaxy, to learn, to survive. But when they saw what we could become, they feared us. Alex stepped closer. What happened to the others? She looked at him, her voice low. They destroyed them. I ran. I stole a ship and hid here, on this forgotten planet. I thought I could end my life quietly, but then you saved me. Before Alex could reply, the alarm screamed. A ship had entered the atmosphere. Moving fast, no ID code, no response. They're here, she said, standing up. The ground shook as the enemy ship landed not far from the outpost. The sky turned dark, clouds swirling unnaturally. Alex grabbed his weapon, an old plasma rifle. Barely charged, he looked at her. If we have to run, we go now. She shook her head. They won't stop until one of us is dead. The doors of the black ship opened, and the hunters stepped out, slow, silent, deadly. They walked like shadows with purpose. The air around them seemed to freeze. One of them raised a hand and spoke through a device that echoed in the sky. "Return the vessel," the voice commanded. "She's not yours to protect." Alex stood on the outpost roof, weapon aimed. "She's not a vessel." He shouted back, "She's alive and she's not going anywhere." The hunter stepped forward. "Then you will die with her." Suddenly, she walked outside, calm, glowing with silver light. Her eyes locked on the commander. "You fear the child," she said. The commander raised a weapon. "We fear the mistake." He replied, "It must be erased." She raised her hand, not in defense, but in command. The ground beneath the hunters trembled. Wind rose into a storm. The child inside her was awake and angry. Alex ran to her side. "You can't fight them," he said. "I'm not fighting," she replied. "I'm protecting." The hunters opened fire. Energy bolts flew toward her, but they stopped mid-air, frozen. Crackling, her body glowed brighter, and the child spoke through her lips. "You are not welcome here." A shockwave burst from her body. The hunters were thrown back like leaves in wind, but they stood again, and this time they came closer. The battle had just begun. The enemy would not stop, not until the hybrid was gone, or until they were. The world held its breath, and then everything stopped. Time didn't freeze, but it slowed, as if the planet itself was watching, waiting. Inside the outpost, silence wrapped around them like a blanket. She lay on the floor, her body glowing brighter than ever before. Her hands gripped the metal, her breath coming in sharp gasps. "It's time," she whispered. Alex knelt beside her, panic in his eyes. "What do I do?" he asked. She looked at him, sweat running down her silver skin. "Just stay," she said. "Stay with me." Outside, the hunters circled the building. But something had changed. They stopped, confused, sensing a strange force in the air. The wind turned cold. The sky turned black. The child was coming. Inside, light poured from her chest. Not red, not blue, but something in between. Energy moved around her like smoke, and then, with one long breath, the pain ended, and she went quiet. Alex's heart pounded. He looked down. A small form lay in her arms, a child, but not just any child. Its skin was pale gold. Its eyes opened wide, glowing with two colors at once, silver and green. It didn't cry. It just looked at Alex, and then he heard a voice. Not in his ears, but in his mind. "Hello," it said. Alex fell backward. Shocked, he stared at the baby. "You spoke?" he asked out loud. The child blinked slowly, then turned to its mother and touched her cheek. She opened her eyes, smiling weakly. "He is awake," she said. Alex stood up, pacing the room. "This isn't normal," he said. "This isn't possible." But deep down, he knew nothing about this was normal anymore. The child stood on his own tiny feet, and looked out the window. Outside, the hunters moved again. But when they saw the child, they stopped. The commander tilted his head. "The hybrid lives," he said. "The prophecy begins." Inside, the child raised one hand, and without touching anything, the outpost's lights all turned on. Screens flickered, machines whirred to life. Old satellite systems, unused for years, began scanning the stars again. Alex looked at the child, stunned. "What are you?" he whispered. The child turned to him and smiled. "I am both," he said, "and more." Suddenly, the sky cracked with thunder, but no storm followed. Instead, the clouds parted, and something far above began to shine. Not sunlight, but something artificial. The mother looked up, her voice weak. "The ancients, she said. They see him. Alex helped her stand. What does that mean? They built us long ago, she said, but we were never meant to carry human blood. He is something they feared and hoped for. Outside, the hunters began to speak again. Their words were sharp and metallic. Deliver the child, they ordered, or we will burn your world. The child stepped forward, bare feet touching the dusty floor. No, he said. His voice echoed with something older than language. The hunters fired. A wall of fire moved toward them. But the child lifted one hand, and the flames vanished, not burned out, just gone. Erased from space and time, Alex stared, frozen in place. Did he just erase fire? The mother nodded, barely standing. He's choosing what's real, she whispered. The child looked back at them. They are not the threat, he said. Something worse is coming. Suddenly, the sky turned dark again, but this time, it wasn't a ship. It was a hole, a tear in space, opening above the desert. The mother collapsed. Alex ran to her, holding her tightly. You need to rest, he said. She touched his hand weakly. He's only just begun. The child turned toward the growing darkness, his small figure glowing against the night. No longer just a child, but a force, a bridge between species, a crack in the old world, and the beginning of a new one. The ground trembled, not from footsteps, not from wind, but from a force older than time. Above the desert, the sky tore open like paper. A rift, black and endless, hovered over the land, and from it, the war began. Ships rained down like daggers, sharp, silent, deadly. They were not the same hunters as before. These were machines, born from forgotten commands. Their purpose was clear: clean the error, erase the hybrid, destroy the world. Alex stood on top of the outpost, holding a weapon too old to matter. He looked up, eyes burning with fear and anger. Behind him, the mother sat weakly, holding her child close. The boy did not cry. He only stared at the sky. His glowing eyes showed no fear. This is not a battle. For survival, the mother said softly. It's a test. Alex turned to her, confused. A test for who? For all of us, she answered. The machines landed with fire and thunder. Long arms and red lights, no voices, no mercy, only mission. Alex activated the defense grid. Old turrets rose from the sand. Shaking and sparking, they fired once, twice, then died, burned out by the enemy's advanced tech. Alex ran inside, grabbed tools, threw parts across the floor. I need time, he said. The mother looked at her child. You don't have time, she whispered. The boy stood, no longer small in presence. He walked outside, alone. Wind moved around him like a shield. Dust rose, but never touched him. The first machine reached him. It raised its weapon. The child raised a hand, and the machine shattered. No sound, no fire, just gone. The others paused. Something in their code hesitated. They were built to erase threats, but they had never seen something that didn't follow rules. More machines moved forward. Alex stepped out, holding his plasma rifle. He stood beside the boy. This is your fight, he said. But I won't let you fight it alone. The boy turned to him. I do not want to destroy, he said, but I will protect. The machines charged, a wave of metal and death. The ground split beneath them. The sky cracked with unnatural lightning, and then, light. The child's body exploded with energy. Not fire, not heat, but memory. The machines froze, and in that moment, they saw something. Not battle, not fear, but a vision of a world where humans and his mother's kind lived together, where cities floated, where stars were shared, where no species had to erase another to survive. One by one, the machines lowered their arms, but not all. Far above, a new figure arrived. A being wrapped in armor made of light and gravity, the overseer, the original creator of the clones, and the final judge of what should live. It spoke only once. The child must choose. The boy turned to his mother and Alex. His eyes glowed brighter than the sun. He stepped forward and floated above the ground. I choose life, he said. The overseer raised one hand. Power surged from the rift. The child raised both hands, and the rift began to close, piece by piece. Space folded back into itself. The world began to heal, but power comes with cost. The energy overwhelmed the child's small body. He fell from the sky. Alex ran and caught him before he hit the ground. The boy was unconscious, his breathing shallow. The mother crawled forward, holding her son close. Tears ran down her silver cheeks. You saved them, she whispered. But you're still just a child. The overseer disappeared. The machines deactivated. The war was over. For now. Alex looked at the mother, then at the child. His hands trembled. He needs help, he said. Not just healing. He needs a future. The mother nodded slowly, then looked up at the stars. We'll give him one, she said. Together, they carried the child back inside. The world was quiet again. But nothing would ever be the same, because the battle for the future had begun, and the future had already chosen its protector. The war ended quietly. No trumpets, no cheers, just silence, a deep, heavy silence that filled the broken sky and the scorched land. The machines were gone. The hunters had vanished, and the overseer, that godlike shadow from another world, had returned to the stars. Alex stood outside the outpost, the wind brushing dust against his boots. He looked up at the pale sky. No fire, no threats, no ships, just clouds, real ones for the first time in weeks. Inside, the hybrid child slept, wrapped in cloth, breathing slow and steady, his body weak from what he had done, but his mind still awake somewhere. The mother sat beside him, gently humming, not a song from her people, but one she had heard in Alex's memory, a soft earth lullaby. She didn't know the words, but the feeling was enough. Alex entered the room, carrying a piece of old tech. I fixed the signal tower, he said. The mother looked at him. Will they come? He nodded. Eventually, they will want answers, she whispered. They'll want the child. Alex placed the tech down and sat across from her. Then we give them the truth, he said. But we keep him safe. Days passed, then weeks. The world around them began to grow again. The sand shifted into soil. Strange alien plants began to sprout near the crash site. As if the child's birth had changed the ground itself, animals returned. Even birds began to fly again. Life was slowly returning, but something deeper had changed. Not just the planet, but the people, or what was left of them. One morning, the boy woke up. He sat up on his own, looked at both of them, and smiled. Are we safe now? He asked. Alex knelt beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. For now, he said. But peace doesn't stay unless we protect it. The child nodded. He stood and walked outside, barefoot, feeling the ground. With every step, grass grew. Tiny blades reaching for the sun. He turned to them. I can't stay hidden forever, he said. One day, others like me will come. The mother stepped forward. And when they do? The child looked at the sky. We teach them, he said. We show them how to live without fear. A signal came days later. A human ship entered orbit, the first one in years. Alex recognized the code, Earth's alliance. They had come not with weapons, but with words. They had heard the energy spike, the collapse of the rift, and they wanted to talk. Alex met them at the landing field, alone. He told them part of the story. Enough to keep the child safe, enough to make them understand. They listened, and for once, they did not try to take anything. Instead, they left behind supplies, scientists, and a message. We want peace, they said. Teach us. The mother and child watched from a distance. Their hands joined, silent. She leaned close and whispered, This is your world now. The boy nodded. It's ours, he said. Not just human, not just alien. It's new. Alex returned that evening, tired but hopeful. We're not hiding anymore, he said. No, the mother replied. We're building, and so they did. Years passed. A small colony grew where the outpost once stood. Not a city, not a base, but a garden. built with both technology and nature, built with both memory and hope. Children played under alien trees. Humans and off-worlders lived side by side. They didn't all speak the same language, but they shared the same future. The hybrid child became a symbol, not of power, but of possibility, and sometimes late at night, he would walk outside, look at the stars, and hear the voice of the one who gave him life, a human, a stranger who gave his blood, not to create a god, but to save a life. From one act of kindness, a new world was born, and that world was only just beginning.